record already, and you can, yes, yeah. Okay, so from the previous discussion from previous week, last week, we discussed already the cost in the short run, in the long run, and in the cost that is shaped like envelope, like U shape. Okay, but it is a kind of flatter, not really a U shape. So we call it as the envelope curve. Then after that, we learn about the economies of scale. Economies of scale, it can be achieved when in the long run the average cost decrease. Okay, so usually it can be achieved in the long run. Okay, because in the short run they still cannot have it that efficient. Okay, let's say, okay, for the supplies in the long run they can manage. Okay, and the long run, when we talk about long run, there is also the period when it should stop. For example, if there is the expiry of the product or the raw material, cannot be longer than that to plan. Okay, because if it is longer than that, then it is the expiry date already. And now we discuss about the managerial economies. Yes, the last discussion that we had is about the managerial economies. So we learned that specialization, we focus, okay, the workers focus on their division only. They focus on their division only so that they can work, okay, more efficiently and effectively, because they do not need to do the multitasking. So specialization, usually it happens in large firms. Okay, because if it is in small firms, then usually the worker there need to do, okay, several types of jobs. For example, the accountant, they need also to do the, let's say, financial projection, while it is the job of the financial department, even though accounting and department are two departments which are closely related, but they are from different, they have different function. For accounting, it is only the bookkeeping, but for the finance, they will do the financial projection. Or let's say the accountant, they need to do the marketing work, to which no specialization. Usually specialization, it can happen in large firms. Okay, specialization happen in large firms because they have enough personnel or workers. Okay, for small firms, usually one worker will do so many things. And then they have the clear vision departments. We just review only for a while for this last slide. And the small firms, one person doing all the job. And then this one person does, yeah, for example, in the marketing, so many things that should be done by more than one person. And then cost saving can be achieved when specialization is employed. Yes, for example, when there is no specialization and there is a job which can be done by, for example, office boy or office girl, but there is no specialization, the company would like to save money. So it is the manager who will do those things. For example, to make coffee for the guests, or to do the photocopying things, okay, which will actually becomes more expensive, because if it is done by the office girl, office boy, then their wages is lower than compared to asking the managers who will do those administrative things and the things that can be delegated if there is the person, like in that case, it will be the office boy or the office girl. And after the managerial economics from our textbook, page 156, we have the discussion about technological economies. Technological economies. So here with the advancement in technology, we can save the cost. Okay, firms also, they can save costs with the advancement in technology. One of the example of this is, let's say they have the meeting through this Zoom So it is using the advancement in technology, okay, for communication. And then they can save the cost. They can save as well the resources such as their time. They do not need to travel from their office to their partner's office. They can just do it through Zoom. So many types of firms can make cost saving with the application. Okay, they can do the booking, online booking as well. So we can say with the advancement of technological economies, okay, firms can make cost saving. Okay, cost savings can be achieved. Okay. And then the next one, okay, online ordering, okay, online ordering, and then booking system, like when we would like to book airlines ticket, okay, we can just conveniently book it through the application, okay, or from the website. Hotel as well, so we do not need to go there and to make the reservation, so to save the time. Okay. And if we go there and make the reservation, yeah, maybe the line up, okay, the queue will be long. So if we can do it online, it will save the time. No need to line up for such a long time, saving the time. And this time this time that is used, we can use it for other purposes, which is more productive. Okay, so online ordering, like as simple as ordering of the food, online ordering of the food, and booking systems. Okay, okay. Oh yeah, yes, Sharon, thank you for informing me. Okay, online ordering and booking system. Okay, so we can just use the search engines to look for, okay, the things that we would like to have. Okay. We can go to marketplace as well, and we can go to search engine. We can just browse it anywhere. Okay, to search for the functions, the features that we would like to have, and with the most economics price, with the cheapest price possible that we can find from the internet. So it is better, it is good for us as consumers, but for sellers, it might not be the case. Okay, because for sellers, then maybe they will enter the red ocean market. It means that they need to lower their price, having discount or a flash sale, something like that, so that they can attract customers with the low price, okay, which is not recommendable, okay, to compete in the pricing. So we are advised to compete in the services and other value that we can give better than our competitors. So it is not about the pricing. And then here, yeah, anything that society would like to buy, they can just search it online. And also they can, okay, by using the advancement in the technology, let's say using machines, okay, using machines, so it means that they need to employ less, okay, less workers. Okay, so they can reduce, firms can reduce, I would say, firms can reduce, okay, the number of people they employ. Number of people. So it will also mean that they will reduce the average cost. So it will be good for them. And then for the next one, okay, for technological economies, now we have done. How about this one, financial economies? For financial economies, usually for those large scale firms, okay, they have a better and cheaper access to borrowed funds than smaller firms. Yes, because the banks and then the financial institutions, they trust more to the large scale firms compared to the smaller scale firms. Okay, actually those who need to borrow money from the government, it is the small scale firms, okay, those who need money. But then the bank, okay, they will trust, okay, those who have more money to borrow from them. So if they do not have money, okay, and they would like to borrow money from the bank will be reluctant to lend it to them, even though it is those people or firms who will need, they are the ones who need to borrow money from the bank, because the bank are afraid that they cannot pay back, okay, the interest and also the capital, the loan. So for financial economics, it is on page 156. It is the large scale firms that usually have better, they have better because they are more trusted and cheaper access to borrow funds. So it means that if we compare it to small scale firms, okay, smaller firms. Okay. So this is because of why actually, so we can say that those who need to borrow money from the bank is the poor people, because they do not have money. That's why they want to borrow from the bank. And the rich people, actually, they do not need to borrow money from the bank because they have the money already, rich people. But for the bank, they will be happier, more willing to lend money to rich people, those who doesn't actually,
Because they have collateral, right? They have collateral.
Yeah.
It's like, but then like rich people, they also borrow money, miss. For example, if you talk about businesses, big businesses, people who have big businesses, do they pay their machinery at once? No. No, miss, they don't. They don't pay for their big machinery at once. No, they take credit.
Yes. Yes, the rich people, they have the collateral, which makes the bank, okay, more willing to lend to them, while poor people, they do not have, okay, the collateral that is needed, okay, for lending, for borrowing money from the bank. Okay, so this water, I'm going to drink. And then after financial economics, risk-bearing economics. The next discussion is about the risk-bearing. For the risk-bearing economies. So this might explain why as firms get larger, they become more risk-averse, by spreading their business activities in a more diverse way. So I think we have encountered already that in investment, we should diverse our investment, or do not put our eggs in one basket. Okay, because if that basket broke, then everything inside that basket, all the eggs will break as well. So same thing as in the business. So risk-bearing economies, okay, as firms get larger, then they become more risk-averse. They become more risk-averse. Because they can spread their business activities. Okay, spreading their business activities in a more diverse way. Okay, in a more diversified way. So a diversified conglomerate can convey any losses in one activity with the profits from another. Yes, for example, like in, let's say, in rainy season, okay, he or she who have the ice cream business cannot sell the ice cream. Okay, because people usually do not eat ice cream during rainy day. But since he or she has also, let's say, a raincoat business, so the raincoat business, the profit from the raincoat business can cover the loss from the ice cream business. Okay, so they can cover the loss. Okay, so they can cover the loss in one activity. Okay. With the profits from other. Line of business that they have. Okay, so the owner is the same. Okay. Risk can be further reduced by cooperating with rivals on large capital projects. Yes, they can also collaborate. Okay. They cooperate with rivals. They can collaboration. So in the past time, we usually encounter the firms, they compete with each other. But now, okay, more and more firms collaborate so that they can become stronger and both of them will be better off rather than if they compete with each other. So this will be the discussion about the economies of scale. Now for the next subtopic is the external economies of scale. So previously our discussion was only about economies of scale, how to achieve economies of scale, because the economies of scale can be achieved. Usually it is in the long run average cost can fall, the falling of the long run average cost, okay, as the scale of output increases. Now for external economies of scale. Okay, so this is the cost savings. That is accruing to all firms in an industry as the scale increases. So for economies of scale, okay, it can be achieved in the long run because the average cost decreases. And then for external economies of scale, okay, so they can save the cost saving accruing to all firms in an industry as the scale increases. Okay, because the scale increases, so the firms in this industry will benefit. Okay, it will save the cost. For example, if the industry of vegetarianism, okay, so vegetarian food, let's say now in pandemic, people are more concerned about their health. So they will choose a healthier food. For example, those without meat, okay, the vegetarian food. So if the trend of the vegetarian food is good right now, so it will save the cost of the restaurant who are selling vegetarian food to do, for example, the advertisement, because or the education to the society why you should eat your vegetable and you should abandon eating meat. And because society knows already, the trend in the society is like that, they are eating the vegetarian food, for example. So this industry is a good one. It is increases. It is a prospective industry in the future. So it will be a cost saving. Okay, so the firms who are in this industry will be able to save their cost. because it means that they do not have to painstakingly explain to the customer why you need to have a vegetarian food, and whether there will be lack of like protein or any vitamin that they can usually get from the meat. So since the trend is, for example, vegetarian food, then almost everyone in the society, they know already the benefits of having this kind of food. So it means that it will be a cost-saving situation for the firm, because the scale increases. Okay, so here we can say that there is a particular benefits received by all the firms. It can be received by all the firms, not only by one firm only, but by all the firms in that industry. Received by all the firms in the industry. So this is a direct consequence. As a direct consequence of the growth of the industry. Since the industry is growing, then everyone in that industry is better off. Is there any question that you would like to ask?
Yes, I'm still not getting it. Can you please repeat external economies of scale?
Yes, okay, so for external economies of scale, the firms, all firms are not only one, but all firms can save the costs, okay, because the industry is good, okay, it is the industry that is in the trend, okay, it is good. For example, okay, let's say now people are more aware of healthy food, okay, for example. So previously people eat meat, they add a lot of meat and then junk food. But now, especially since there is the pandemic, so people are more concerned about their health. Okay, so since they are more concerned about their health, then they will opt for healthier food. For example, a vegetarian. Okay, the vegetarian food.
I wouldn't only say it's only vegetarian. It's also like, for example, if you talk about meat, there are different grades of meat. For example, if you talk about the normal meat, it's not going to be that healthy as, for example, lean meat or grass-fed meat. Like higher quality meat that's actually quite healthy and sustainable, then people would try to eat that more. Especially when you are like having low thrombocyte, like in English, thrombocyte, because when you have COVID, chances are you will have a low thrombocyte level, including me, myself. I had one of the lowest thrombocyte levels there is. So we had to eat a lot of meat to increase our thrombocyte. So it's like it's not only about whether it's meat or veggies that counts. It's also the fact that like if your meat can also be healthy if it's good quality meat. If it's good quality meat and if it's not processed meat in the sense where it's like it's not So like you have to be really careful with those.
Yes. Yes, thank you for your addition for our general knowledge. Yes. Yes, and then the advantages may include the availability of a pool of the skilled labor, or convenient. They will become more convenient in the supplying of the raw materials, of the components that they need to do the production. So, say specialists, producers, like if it is food, then they can get it from the best producers. So who have grown up to make the items for all the firms. So there will be, if the industry is big enough, So the supplier also, there will be people who will specialize in supplying the raw material because they know that the industry is good, it is sustainable. Then there must be many people who would like to supply the raw materials because of the prospective the industry which is good and prospective in the future from specialist producers. Okay, so they have already, okay, they are more established, okay, who have grown up to make the items for all the firms. So an example will be the Silicon Valley in California. And then Cambridge. So they have research and development that is linked with universities and educational institutions. Okay. However, there are limits to economies of scale. There are limits to economies of scale. So a firm can expand the output. I will type first the next subtopic. It is about the limits to economies of scale. So what are the limitations to economies of scale? So a firm can expand its output too much. Firm can expand its output too much with the result that unit costs start to rise. So the unit cost starts to rise. Yes. So even though if the firms can produce in bulk, so in general, the average cost will decrease. Okay, for example, the electricity bill, whether the firm produce one product or 100 products, the same electricity bill that they need to pay, or the internet connection bill that they need to pay, even though they use the internet connection just to play games or to for business, they will still need to pay the same internet bills every month. But then there will be the limitations to economies of scale. Okay, so the firm can expand their output. If it is too much, it may be not good. So the result is that the unit cost starts to rise. Okay, for example, I think previously my example was about the skincare product. Then the owner of the business would like to sell as much as possible of the skincare product. So they ask the factories to produce as much as possible so that they can sell more and get more profit. But then, okay, for the skincare product, they need the container. Okay, so for the container, it is not a guarantee that the factory who produce the container do not run out of stock. So there are times when they run out of the raw materials or the stocks. So if the owner of the skincare force himself or herself that they should, they have to produce at this large quantity, and they would like to search for the container from abroad, imported container, so it will be more expensive. So if they expand their output too much, the result will be possibly the unit cost starts to rise. So they need to measure as well at what point is the most efficient and effective production point. If it is more than that, then it is very much possible that the unit cost starts to rise. Okay. So until here, is there any question about the limits of economies of scale?
On this.
Okay, yes. And then we have here, right, the external economies of scale. Okay. Now we have as well the diseconomies of scale, internal diseconomies of scale. Let's take a look at this one for the internal diseconomies of scale. Okay. Now, okay. Well, for internal diseconomies of scale, okay, it is possible, okay, if there is excessive concentration of economic activities, excessive concentration economic activities, there is excessive focus on the economic activities in a narrow geographical location. So here, excessive concentration of economic activities in a narrow geographical location can cause as disadvantages. They can have disadvantages. And so the external diseconomies may exhibit themselves in the form of, so if let's say in Jakarta, the concentration of economic activities of Indonesia is in Jakarta. Okay, for example, okay, economic activities in Indonesia is concentrated okay, so here it is in Jakarta, the capital city. So it might not be good, okay, in this case, because there will be, okay, the disadvantages. I will just type the disadvantages. Traffic congestion. So if there is traffic congestion, it means that it will increase the distribution cost. Okay. I will just type it on the next page, next slide. Oh, it is less than 1 minute. So you can just log in again, okay, to the same link.